All right. Hi, everybody. Today we're going to be talking about the hero's quest. We've already started talking a little bit about the characteristics of legends. So first we're going to just do a quick little review on that, and then we'll be going into the specific characteristics of an epic hero and the epic quests that epic heroes go on. So why don't we just go ahead and get started? We've talked a lot about the fact that legends are a subgenre of traditional literature that are handed down throughout generations. Legends usually are about a specific person that has heroic accomplishments of some kind. It's really important to remember that legends are based off of true fact, including people that may have existed, places that maybe did or still do exist, or events that actually did take place. But it's also really important to remember that they include many fictional details that are weaved in throughout the story that include magic, supernatural creatures, or superhuman strength or powers. As we go ahead and read any type of legend, it's important that we're able to decipher what is fact and what is fiction. Sometimes we're going to be able to use our prior knowledge to determine between, what's fact and what's fiction, but other times we might have to go ahead and do some extra research to find out whether or not certain things or certain elements within a legend did or did not exist. So if you just take a look quickly at some of these pictures, I do have a couple well-known legends from all around the world. These well-known legends are based off of true people, places, and/or events, but the stories include many fictional details. This includes Helen of Troy, the legend from Greece, Robin Hood from England. There's evidence that someone may have stolen from the rich and gave to the poor, as the legend of Robin Hood says, but there's no actual evidence of the Robin Hood that we know, or whose legend we know. Romulus and Remus is a legend from Italy. That legend states that explains the founding of Rome. Romulus and Remus may have been two real people. We know that Rome is a city in Italy that was founded many years ago, but the legend says that they were raised by a wolf, which likely is not true. And then finally, I included Brave, the Disney movie from a few years ago. The reason I included that was because Brave was basically entirely created based off of legends from Scotland. So this just kind of gives you an idea of the fact that a lot of these stories that we know really well are made up of fact and fiction. So let's go into just quickly what an epic hero is, because we've talked about legends and we've talked about the fact that they have heroes, but they have a really specific type of hero. And it's actually called the epic hero. So many legends protagonists, and protagonists we know are the good guy, the one that we're rooting for. Many legends' protagonists are considered to be epic heroes. An epic hero is the protagonist of a legend who usually goes out on a quest or a journey to accomplish a goal of some kind. Usually the epic hero begins as an ordinary person, but in the end is considered a hero, who usually embodies bravery, justice, leadership, kindness, etc. So an epic hero is a type of character that goes through some type of transformation because of a challenge or challenges that are faced throughout a journey. So here are some examples of modern epic heroes. We have Luke Skywalker from Star Wars, Aladdin, Simba from The Lion King, Frodo from Lord of the Rings, and Katniss Everdeen from The Hunger Games. Now, you'll notice that these well-known characters are considered to be epic heroes, even though their stories are not legends. It's really important to realize that the epic hero sort of character type started with legends, but over time has become really popular, and we can see epic heroes in all different types of literature, movies, TV, etc. So the epic quest is a journey that the epic hero goes on to accomplish a goal of some kind. The quest usually includes challenges and moments of doubt, but there's usually help along the way, along with moments of triumph. The epic hero's quest is almost always successful. So, as I mentioned before, the epic quest is an archetype. And if you remember, an archetype is a familiar structure that appears in multiple different types of movies, books, etc. So the epic quest is an archetype, and a structure appears in all types of literature, movies, TV shows, etc. So the fact that these characters all right here are considered to be epic heroes, and the fact that they're not actually in legends, proves the fact that the epic hero is in fact an archetype. So the epic hero goes on a epic quest, as we've talked about, and that epic quest generally consists of 10 steps. So now we're going to talk a little bit about those 10 steps and go through each of them. So step number 1 is the ordinary world. The epic quest typically begins with the epic hero or the protagonist at home as an ordinary person. Okay, here we have Wreck-It Ralph in his home made of bricks that is, as I said, his sort of ordinary, typical home for him. Here we have Peter Parker prior to learning about his Spider-Man powers. And then finally we have Dorothy and Toto over here at their home in Kansas before embarking on their journey. Once again, keeping in mind that none of these stories are typical legends, but yet they still have the archetype of the epic hero going on an epic quest. Step number 2 is the call to adventure. After the reader has been acquainted with the epic hero in his or her ordinary world, he or she receives a call to adventure that takes him or her away from home and would put them on a journey of some kind. So this call to adventure is essentially the part in the journey where the epic hero gets a call or request so that he or she will go away on some type of an adventure. Step 3 is refusal of the call. The call to adventure is not always immediately agreed upon. The refusal of the call is the point of the quest when the hero doubts him or herself and questions whether it's a good idea to embark on a journey that would take him or her away from his or her familiar, ordinary life. This is a moment where the epic hero questions whether or not he wants to leave his comfort zone, his home, his ordinary life. Here we have a picture from the Disney movie Tangled, where Rapunzel has finally left her tower, reaches the ground, which she's been wanting to do for her entire life, but yet upon doing so realizes that she's scared and isn't sure whether or not it's a good idea. So refusal of the call is a step that many epic heroes take. Step 4 is really important because it's when the epic hero finally accepts the call. Obviously, without agreeing to go on a journey, we would have no story. So accepting the call is really the part where we jumpstart the action to get the quest on the move. Okay, step 5 is entering the unknown. So after accepting the call, the epic hero begins on his or her journey into a place that is unfamiliar, which regular humans are barred from entering. So if you can remember, this picture right here is meant to represent Tessering, when Meg and Charles Wallace and Calvin accepted the call to go with Mrs. Mrs. Witch and Mrs. Whatsit to the other universes to find Meg's father. Tessering really represents entering the unknown, because after tessering they enter into an unknown universe, unknown planets, that really displaces them from the home and their comfort zone. Similarly, we have Hogwarts over here, and then we have the unknown world, once again, where regular humans are barred from in Lord of the Rings. Step 6 is the supernatural aid and magical items. So this step typically can happen really throughout the journey. It's not always in this sort of sequential order where after they enter the unknown, they then get supernatural aid and magical items. This can really happen at any point throughout the journey and also can happen multiple times. So, in any case, to assist in the journey, the protagonist receives help from the supernatural or mythical beings, as well as magical items to help, once again, to help along the journey. So here we have magical ruby slippers. We have a magic carpet from Aladdin. And then here we have not only sort of supernatural aid in Hercules of his super strength, but also we have help from Phil, his trainer, who is a mythical being. Similar to step 6, we also have allies and friends, which again, these allies and friends can take place at any point throughout the journey. Typically, the allies and friends are with the epic hero from start to finish. However, that's not always the case. So all epic heroes need a sidekick or two. Throughout the journey, epic heroes rely on friends to help them through challenges. Sometimes the friends or allies help get the epic hero out of a bind. So here we have Sam from Lord of the Rings, Hermione, Ron are Harry's allies and friends, and then here we have Donkey, who was Shrek's ally and friend in the movies of Shrek. Okay, just a couple more steps and then we're all set. So finally we have step 8, which is tests to prove worthiness of the quest, and also with moments of doubt. So the epic hero's quest wouldn't be interesting without facing and overcoming challenges. Some challenges, though, force the epic hero to a low point where there are moments of doubt as to whether he or she will be able to overcome the challenges throughout the quest. Through these challenges, there are times when the epic hero appears to have been defeated through physical or mental strength. However, the epic hero is able to bounce back and continue on to his or her quest. So try to think of a movie or a film that or even a book, that could have consisted of an epic hero who has embarked on a quest. Think about a moment where that epic hero may have been sort of doubted, where it appeared that they could have been defeated through physical or mental strength. This is a time where we, as readers or viewers, really get hooked into the story, because we obviously are rooting for the protagonist to succeed throughout his or her journey. This really adds suspense, if you can think back to our suspenseful moments, where we're really not sure what's going to happen next. However, the archetype, once again, of the story does consistently show that the epic hero is able to bounce back and continue on his or her quest. Finally, the reward and the journey home. So throughout trials and tribulations of the journey, the quest's goal is finally achieved, and the epic hero gains his or her reward, or what he or she set out for, and begins his or her journey back home. Typically, between this step 8, the test to prove the worthiness, and step 9, this is typically where the climax takes place, where there is usually some type of battle or some type of event or moment where the epic hero comes out on top to get their reward and then to start the journey home. And then finally, boys and girls, we have step 10, where order and power is restored. Now, after embarking on the quest and succeeding, the epic hero returns home and is considered a hero. The epic hero's successful journey allows for order to be restored. The epic hero finishes the story, no longer considered ordinary, but is now considered with stature and power. So if you can remember back to when we first started talking about just story structure, all stories are driven by some type of conflict. So the quest typically introduces some type of a conflict to the epic hero, and by the end of it, that hero is able to overcome that conflict. By the end, as we mentioned, the hero is no longer considered to be ordinary, but now is usually in charge of something or in charge of a group of people, maybe by being crowned king, or maybe he or she is, has some type of a responsibility or power that he or she must uphold based on the fact that he or she was able to overcome that challenge or quest. So that right there, boys and girls, is really the 10 steps of the epic journey, or the epic quest, I should say. So hopefully it was informative. Hopefully it makes sense. And please come to class tomorrow with any questions, comments, or concerns of anything that was unclear. And we can start off class tomorrow with some of those questions or comments. Hope you enjoy it, and I hope you have a wonderful night. See you soon. Bye.